We've got a brand new Madden 24 update to go over today. Now, it's been quite a bit since we've seen an update from Madden, about a month, and the last update we saw wasn't even one that was that big either, so it's kind of been closer to 2 months since we've seen a substantial update to the game. And one thing I've kind of noticed as we've gone into the new year is the updates have definitely been a lot lighter for Madden this year than they usually are. Usually January, February, and even March, we'll still have one pretty big or significant update, and we really just haven't seen that yet, and I think it's for multiple reasons. Number one, they're obviously in Madden 25 mode now. They are kind of getting into that final period where they really got to start focusing a lot more attention on the upcoming Madden game. But not only that, EA Sports College Football is also coming out a little bit sooner than that, and I think some of the people from the Madden team have definitely been moved over to college football as they're like really in that grind mode now to make sure that they get that game out on time. Now, obviously they do have two separate teams working on the game, but some of the people that work on Madden are also working on college football as well, because some of those people worked on the old NCAA game. So they're obviously going to be dipping into some of the Madden team to help with that game, making sure it gets out on time. And I think that's why we're kind of seeing Madden not get as many big updates or as much attention during this time of the year as it has over the last few years. We've kind of come accustomed to them doing a little bit more update wise at the beginning of a new year, and we're just not really seeing that much anymore because now they have two games they're working on instead of just the next Madden game. Now, speaking of those games, if you want to stay up to date with all the news for the upcoming Madden and college football game, which you're going to start getting more and more as the months go on, make sure to subscribe and turn the bell icon on so you never miss any of those videos when they drop. Now, today does officially kick off Season 5 for Madden 24, and we'll talk about what that means a little bit later in the video, but one of the bigger updates we're seeing today is that they're finally switching over the X Factor and Superstar players. We know that they do this about twice a year. They last did this in November, so now we're a couple days from March, and usually around late February, early March is when they do the second and final X Factor and Superstar reshuffle for the year. So based on how players have been performing over the last few months and just the entire season as a whole, they're going to finally switch these up, and we're going to get into who those new players are right now. Starting off with the new X Factors, no surprise, CeeDee Lamb was a shoe-in to finally get moved to X Factor. I think he should have probably been moved to this when they did the update a few months ago, but for whatever reason they didn't do it then, but they have done it now. By far his best season as a pro, one of the best receivers in the league this year, and he officially goes from Superstar to X Factor, and they've given him the Yak 'em Up X Factor, which increases his chance to break the first post-catch tackle. So when you throw him the ball, when he's in the zone, whether it's a juke, a truck, a stiff arm, whatever type of ball carrier move you want to use with him, he's likely going to break that first tackle and get you some extra yak. The next guy moving up to X Factor is Josh Allen, the pass rusher for the Jags. Now, he also had his best season as a pro, racked up a ton of sacks this year, and was kind of coming into his own, being the guy that they drafted him to be. And he's getting the Unstoppable Force X Factor, which is the best one for pass rushers. It's going to give him the quicker pass rush wins and quicker block shedding, which is what you want from a pass rusher. But hold up really quickly, stop right there. If you're into sports and you want to try to win some money, then you've got to be on Underdog Fantasy playing their Pick'em game. It's super simple. All you got to do is simply pick higher or lower on a wide variety of player stats, and if they hit, you can win some big money. And since it's currently NBA season, for example, you could take a certain player like LeBron to get over a certain amount of points, or you can take another player to get a certain amount of rebounds, or lower than that amount, whatever you think is going to happen. But the best part about Underdog Fantasy is they're going to always give you a free play right at sign up to help you win some money. So for tonight, they're going to give you Luka Doncic, for example. All he has to do is get 1 point, and that's it, you win. For tomorrow, they're going to give you Giannis Antetokounmpo, and no matter when you sign up, there's always going to be a free play like this with a player that all he has to do is get 1 point and you'll win. And if that's not good enough, at sign up, if you use my code RAY, R-A-Y, they're going to also double your first deposit up to $100, meaning if you deposit $100, you get an extra free $100 on top of that to play with, and you just can't beat that. The next guy moving up to X Factor is Kyle Hamilton, which should be no surprise. He had his best year so far as a pro, and he's now being kind of regarded as one of the best safeties in the league, and rightfully so. He is one of the key focal points of what makes that Ravens defense so good. And now, I mean, the Ravens got quite a few X Factors now. They're really starting to kind of add a lot of guys here, being one of the better teams in the game. And he's got the reinforcement X Factor, which is pretty typical of a lot of the hybrid style safeties, and it gives him a higher chance to defeat run blocks and disrupt catches when he's in the zone. The next guy moving up to X Factor should also be no surprise, Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's been getting better and better each year, and obviously this has been his best year by far. A lot of catches, a lot of yards, just makes big plays. He is the best player on that Lions offense, and he definitely deserves to represent the team as their one X Factor player. I mean, you can obviously argue that Aiden Hutchinson should probably be moved up there as well, but he gets the double me X factor, which is probably the best one for wide receivers. It's going to allow him to win aggressive catches versus single coverage when he's in the zone, so you have to double cover him. And the last new X factor player is Matt Milano of the Bills, and this one was a little surprising to me just because, in my opinion, I think there maybe have been some other guys that deserved it more. Not that Matt Milano isn't great, was just kind of surprised that they went with him over maybe some of the other names that were kind of in that argument to be moved up. But either way, one of the better linebackers in the league. He's getting the reinforcement X factor as well, which gives him that higher chance to defeat run blocks and disrupt catches, something you see typically with the safeties and some of these linebackers that get X factors. Now let's look at the new superstar players, starting with Kyle Juszczyk. Don't typically see fullbacks get these superstar or X factors, but Kyle Juszczyk obviously has been great. He's a good offensive weapon. He gets the mid-out elite and the matchup nightmare, so this is going to help him if you put him on routes as a receiver, just like in real life. The Texans had a couple guys added to superstar as well, which they deserve after having such a good season. Laramie Tunsil is one of the new ones who really should have already been here. He's one of the best tackles in the league, and a lot of the other top tackles are superstars. For some reason, Laramie Tunsil never was, and he gets secure protector and screen protector, so he's going to have better pass blocking and better blocking in the screen game, which is nice. And then Nico Collins also moved up into this spot after having by far his best year as a pro. He gets the mid in elite and the deep in elite. So any type of in-breaking route that goes a little bit deeper down the field, like posts or dig routes and things like that, he's going to get really good separation and he's going to have improved catching. Next up, we've got Chris Lindstrom of the Falcons. He's moving up into superstar with the fool me once and secure protector abilities. For the Bucks, we've got Antoine Winfield Jr. finally moving up into the superstar. He's got tip drill and acrobat, which are going to be two of the better ones for a secondary player. It's going to allow him to make a lot better animations in coverage, diving for swats and interceptions, and it's also going to allow him to catch any type of a tip pass every time. We've got Denzel Ward also moving up into superstar, and I could have sworn he already was a superstar. Maybe they removed it from him because he is listed here on the site. But honestly, this is like another example of a guy that I think really should be an X factor. He's one of the best cornerbacks in the league. He does have acrobat, which is good, and deep route KO, which is also good, meaning if he's in man coverage, he's going to knock the ball out on those deep routes pretty much every time. David Njoku having his best season as a pro, and he gets some really good abilities. He's got short and elite, which is good because it kind of still activates on a lot of in-breaking routes, not just short ones, but he also has tight end apprentice, which is one of the best abilities you can have. It's going to give him those extra routes like post routes and corner routes, which are really deadly. For the Bengals, we've got Trey Hendrickson finally moving up into superstar. Honestly, he should have had this at least by last year, if maybe not even the year before that. He's been such a consistent pass rusher for the last 3 to 4 seasons. He's finally moving up. He gets the no outsiders, which is going to help him against the run, and he gets edge threat, which is going to give him those dominant pass rush moves from the edge, which these are two of the better ones you want on an edge rusher, and he has them. We've got Evan Ingram from the Jags finally getting some love as well, having his best season. He gets the mid-out elite, which is okay, not really nothing crazy, but he has tight end apprentice, which, like I said a minute ago, is one of the best abilities for a tight end. His teammate Travis Etienne is also getting some really good abilities here. Jukebox, which is one of the best abilities you could have for a running back this year because the juke move is by far the best open field move in the game, and when you add Jukebox to that, it makes it even better. And he also gets backfield master, which is going to give him those extra hot routes, and it's going to give him improved catching and route running. So now, immediately, the Jags offense is a lot better in the game because you already had Trevor Lawrence, who has gunslinger, which is good, gives you those faster throws, but now you've got two players in Ingram and Etienne who both get extra hot routes, making them a much tougher offense in Madden. The Panthers got a new superstar in Derek Brown, the best player on their team. I think at this point, at least I think ratings wise, he is the best player on the team, or he's close. He gets swim club and unpredictable, so now the Panthers have two guys on the D-line that can get those extra block sheds and get to the QB quicker. The Super Bowl winning Chiefs got a couple new superstar players as well. Creed Humphrey, who is definitely overdue, one of the best centers in the league. He gets linchpin, which is going to help the entire offensive line, which is great, and he gets natural talent. Also, we've got Isaiah Pacheco coming in with that jukebox ability, like I said, just making the Chiefs that much better. They're already arguably the best team in the game just because Patrick Mahomes has hot route master, and they've got some really good players, got some speed, but now you give jukebox to Isaiah Pacheco, making them even better. Not only did the Lions get a new X Factor, but they got a few new superstar players as well, and that's deserved after having one of their best seasons in a long time. Penei Sewell, one of the best linemen in the league, he gets natural talent and screen protector. We've got Frank Ragnow, another guy on that offensive line, getting linchpin, which again helps the entire offensive line, which is great, and he gets all day. And then, of course, Sam Laporta, one of the best rookie tight end seasons we've seen in a while, but he only gets mid-end elite, which in my opinion, not really the best ability. It's going to help him on like post routes and dig routes, but I feel like they could have gave him something a little better. The Dolphins already have a few X factors and superstar players, but they're getting a new one with Raheem Mostert after his great season. He's got balance beam, but the good one here is evasive, because evasive gives you spin cycle and it gives you jukebox. Spin cycle, not really that good, as the spin move just isn't that good in general this year, but he does get jukebox with this, which makes, again, the Dolphins just that much more dangerous on offense. The Jets add another superstar player to their team with Breece Hall, who gets backfield master and evasive, which makes their offense that much better, because backfield master is giving you extra hot routes to the running back, so you can put him on Texas routes, flat routes, but he also gets evasive, like which we just talked about, gives him that jukebox ability, making the Jets offense a little bit better in Madden 24. And another running back is getting superstar here for the Rams, Kyron Williams, after having a great season as well. He gets bruiser, which isn't really the best one this year. It's okay. It's going to allow him to break more tackles when trucking and stiff arming. Definitely a good ability, but jukebox is just going to be the more preferred one this year, but he definitely will break more tackles with this ability. Now, here are the players who got downgraded. As we know, when new players get superstar and X Factor, they downgrade some players as well. So here are the downgraded X Factor players: Von Miller, Josh Jacobs, DeMarcus Lawrence, Austin Eckler, and Terry McLaurin. And I don't really have too much of a problem with any of these guys, because I think most of these guys didn't have like amazing years. They all kind of took a step back a little bit. I think DeMarcus Lawrence had a pretty good year, but he just got X Factor, I think, with the last update, so it's weird to see them kind of take it back. Terry McLaurin obviously has just kind of been in a bad QB situation for a while, but you know, Eckler, Jacobs, and Von Miller didn't really do a whole lot this year. And here are the downgraded superstar players: Cameron Jordan, Kevin Byard, Dallas Goedert, Ryan Jensen, Mekhi Becton, Kyle Pitts, Shaq Barrett, Daniel Carlson, Younghoe Koo, Deontay Johnson, and Tony Pollard. Now, we also had a small gameplay update as well. The last few updates, they've been messing with the fatigue on defense to try to limit the overuse of secondary blitzing or like cornerback blitzing off the edge, and it just really has not worked properly. So they did a bit of a tuning update here, and it says, "We have now reverted the fatigue changes where defenders would get a severe fatigue penalty when pass rushing and engaging in a block with a blocker that was significantly bigger than the defender. Through the concept of this new fatigue penalty was something that was correct in premise, the application resulted in too many undesired artifacts that hindered the end user's playing experience. We do plan to revisit this in the future and possibly implement a more comprehensive version in an upcoming title." So basically what they're saying here is they tried to do something different. They tried to kind of penalize the cornerback blitzers when they would be faced with the big offensive linemen who are much bigger than them, but it kind of had ripple effects of fatigue on defense in general, which was not the idea. So they couldn't really figure it out. They reverted it back to how it was, and they're going to probably try to see if they can change this probably in the upcoming Madden and do maybe a better fix for this. So the fatigue has now been reverted to how it was at the beginning of the game, essentially. So you're probably going to start seeing some more blitzes off the edge than you maybe were seeing the past couple of months. Today also kicks off Season 5, which is mainly an Ultimate Team thing. New rewards, new field passes are unlocked. So if you are an Ultimate Team player, you're probably already kind of tapped in with that. You've watched the stream, but there's going to be a new field pass, new rewards to compete for, new rewards to unlock. And we do this, you know, a few times a year in Ultimate Team. So I know a lot of people here aren't big Ultimate Team players. Y'all are more regs and franchise guys, but for those who do play Ultimate Team, a new season has officially kicked off today, so you can go check it out, and there's a lot of new challenges and stuff like that to play. Now, like I said at the beginning of the video, these updates have kind of been smaller and smaller. Now, the X Factor and Superstar update is a pretty big one, but outside of that, not a lot of stuff for gameplay, nothing for franchise, nothing for Superstar, no player likeness. This has been the lightest player likeness year that I've seen from Madden in a long time. We've gotten not much player likeness updates this year. We haven't really gotten many equipment updates this year. It's been very, very minimal, and most of them were at the beginning of the year. We have not seen a lot of gameplay updates even really the past few months. And again, I think it's because not only are they working on Madden 25, but they're even more importantly, some of those people have been moved over to the college football game, because that is kind of the big thing right now. That comes out in July. They got to get it out. They got to make sure everything's ready to go. And they're definitely using some people from the Madden team to do that. And that's why these updates have kind of been smaller and smaller over the past 3 months, whereas typically, you know, they'd still be significantly bigger than this in years past. So I don't even know if we're going to expect another update for this game, because usually we'll get like one last update in April, and the way things are going, I'm not even sure we're going to get that this year. I think they're just completely moved on to the new games now with having 2 games to work on. We're probably not going to be experiencing anything too big the rest of the year, and Madden 24 is kind of just going to carry on now as is until the new game. Now, we've been getting a lot of news lately about that upcoming college football game, and if you want to know the latest and what we can expect from that game, make sure to check out this video right here on the screen.